What is the market telling me this week? Welcome to the Rutherford Report, and I'm your host, the Angry Investor. Wall Street pisses me off when it takes advantage of the little guy because the market is there to make you money, not to make Wall Street money. You just need to know what to look out for. So hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, share this with someone who would get a lot out of it, because this is the place to be for the financial news that matters for your net worth. Let's get to it. I'm watching some interesting trends like this one where Jeff Bezos expresses optimism about Trump's deregulation agenda. The reason I'm pointing this out is because the trend is your friend. If the trend is up and there's growth, you're going to be making money. And if the trend is down and things are contracting, you're going to lose money. So it's my job to watch the market to see what trends I can take advantage of so that I can make money. Here's the thing. If we get a lot of deregulation, this could mean that companies start making a lot more money, at least those that profit from the deregulation and don't have to deal with as much regulation. So we're really going to have to see how this plays out, but this could become an important trend to watch next year because it can really make investors money if they get on the right side of it. Now, another trend that I'm watching very closely is the trend in oil. See, Chevron cuts Permian CapEx for 2025. Well, guess what? If a major oil company is not going to spend as much money looking for more oil, well, there's a chance that we might not have as much oil. And that can only mean one thing: the price could go up. So this is a trend I'm watching very closely because I've been invested in the oil majors for almost 4 years now because I bought them at the bottom of the trend when the trend was, everyone hates oil and it's going to be negative. So I backed up the truck right about the time of the presidential election and the trend has been up. So I'm continuing to monitor the news to see if the trend is intact. You know what? With articles like this, it looks like the trend is intact. Now, the other major super trend that I want to point out in the news here is this article where the VC head reveals the most important graph ever conceived. So why is this the most important graph ever conceived? Well, it's a graph around 128 years of Moore's Law. And let me see if I can make it a little bigger so we can see it. Now, right here, what's most interesting about it is this is a graph of the different types of chips. And you can see for a very long time we're making one type of chip, then we start making these NVIDIA GPUs, and now there's a custom ASIC chip, which apparently is helping AI a lot. So that's why they're saying this is the most important graph ever. And if you don't know anything about Moore's Law, it's that you can keep making things, they keep getting better and cheaper. So this means the chips are going to keep getting better and cheaper. It's like a law of science. Now, I don't need to really know the specifics. All I need to know is that we're at the beginning, not the end of a trend. And why is that happening? Well, we've just shifted from this NVIDIA GPU technology to this ASC technology, and we've got this analog ASC. So I don't need to know what it is, I just need to know that it's new and the trend is it's something new. So obviously there are going to be improvements. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that, but you do need to know that, well, this hasn't been something that's been happening a long time. So we're still somewhat early in the trend. And if I learned too much about it, then I might think that, well, I'm too smart, and then I would miss the boat. Instead, all I really need to know is, well, we're at the beginning of a new trend, not at the end of a trend. So, moving on to what I think is really important that investors really should look at. What's next? Well, there's really only two scenarios if I'm looking at the macroeconomic picture. Because when I'm investing in the American markets, I want to know exactly what could happen next. And there's really two things that I see. I see that unemployment gets worse and the market then tops out, and then it will grind sideways and lower. or the fiscal continues to propel the market higher and nothing else matters. So let's look at the data, because just this morning on Friday, December 6th, we got the unemployment came out right here at 4.2%. So why is this important? Because the trend is, if people don't have their jobs, they're not spending money, and then corporate profits go down. So you can see I brought up the data here from the Fed, and this is an interesting graph on the SOM rule, which is a trend basically that says, well, if unemployment gets worse, then it gets worse. So everyone was really worried about this little blip here. So I do have one interesting thing to look at here. You can see at the tech boom, it went up, and then it had a little gyration here. And then in 2008, it went way up, and then we had a gyration. So my question for investors out there is, during the plague, did we have this big spike? And then is this the gyration afterwards, or is this the restart of the next recession? That's what really the big question for 2025 is, because we don't know yet. And all we can do is keep watching the data, because if the data deteriorates, then it's going to be a big problem. That's why I use financial models to look at the data and back test it to see, does the past equal today? And if the conditions from a crash equal today, well, then it's time to freak out. And I'm not seeing that right now. And if I was seeing that, I would be telling everyone in my super investor group. Now, here's the thing. I want to look at the market data, because the market is really going to tell me what to do. And right now, the volatility is lower than it's ever been. That should mean I'm very complacent, right? No, actually, it's the complete opposite, because typically, as volatility gets way down, and I can zoom out here, you can see just before there's a big problem, there's some of the lowest volatility. So right now, we're very low. The volatility is very low. So, of course, it can go lower from here, but I'm watching very carefully to see if it goes up, and I'm watching the economic data. But right now, if I look at the market, everything looks fantastic. We've got gold. It's been going up. Now it's consolidating sideways. If I zoom in here, this looks more like a consolidation to me. Of course, it could go down. I really don't know. It could go up. It could go sideways. But it's not plunging. And if I look at the market as a whole, we are perfectly in line with everything. Like, look at this. This is just up into the right. So I think a lot of people are out there and they're really worried, well, the market has done so well, it has to go down. And it doesn't look that way to me, because if I'm reading the tea leaves here, if I'm making a prediction, we're moving towards a mania phase, not a crash phase, because Bitcoin is up, up, up. Like, look at this. We're over $100,000. You can't tell me we're in a crash phase when Bitcoin is over $100,000. So the most important thing of everything to look at is the leaders. This is what the trend is. What is the trend? AI is the super trend of all trends. And NVIDIA is up and to the right. It's consolidating sideways. It beat on revenue. And if I look at the most important metric, that's how many chips are we making? Because this is a big proxy for what everyone's doing. Are we having more AI? Is software getting better? Well, you know what? Right now, as of the November numbers have not come out, but the October numbers, this is TSMC's monthly revenue. We can see how is the AI revolution going on a monthly basis, and that's at up 29% year on year. And why is this all so important? I'm going to go back to this graph. Let me just make sure that everyone is seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, you see this here? This line here, every industry on the planet is going to become an information business. This is the mega trend of all trends, because you know what? Data makes everything faster. Eventually, everything's going to be data. Every business that has data, has AI sorting that data, because that's really all AI is. It's a very complicated sorting algorithm. It's going to sort it. It's going to help business owners and businesses become more productive. You know what? That means more money in the economy. That means stock market go up. That means NVIDIA goes up. So that's what the data is telling me right now. And until I see something different, I'm going to be investing in these trends in the companies that take advantage of them. So if you want to know exactly what I'm investing in and what I see as the big winners for next year, you can go to highreturnlowrisk.com and check it out. So until then, the data looks good, and we're going to have to keep watching the market until the data changes. If the data comes out next week and it looks bad, I'll turn bearish. But until then, I'm bullish. So hit that like button, leave me a comment, tell me the trends you're watching, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone who would get a lot out of it. All right, I'll talk to you soon. How am I using this information to protect and grow my wealth? Go to highreturnlowrisk.com.